Hello, my name is Jack. I'm from Antioch and I'd like to talk to you about my experience in transportation. When I started going to Cal, I found myself trapped by a system that was inadequate. Traffic meant prohibitively high gas costs, parking fees, and awful stress. It was an hour and a half BART ride from Antioch to Berkeley. That's one hell of a commute, but it wasn't the worst part. I live 4 miles away from an Antioch BART station, but it takes me an hour to get there by public transportation. Including poorly timed transfers and the need to show up at a bus station early for fear of missing the hourly bus, the time sink just kept getting larger. The parking lot is woefully inadequate and fills up before the sun rises. I considered a bicycle, however, that is not allowed during peak hours, and there were only 12 bike lockers at the station. I wanted to use public transportation, but it took me 6 hours of my day to get to a place where I would spend 4 hours. The system just didn't work for me, and I'm guessing it didn't really work for a whole lot of other people, as I don't believe I saw more than 3 people on the bus with me. These are problems that I not only experienced in Antioch, I experienced it when I lived in Las Vegas, when I lived in Sacramento. I saw the same problems over and over again. A car was required. Antioch is just the perfect case study in problems in transportation in cities designed with the personal vehicle in mind.
Jack's experiences, though shocking, are not unique. Antioch, California, and its suburban landscape lies at the outskirts of the Bay Area. While mass transit options such as Bay Area Rapid Transit have increased regional connectivity, there still exists a prevalent first and last mile problem. The low population density, cul-de-sacs, long block distances, and labyrinthian curves of suburbia make traditional forms of transportation, such as bus routes, infeasible. Public transportation is not only more expensive to implement in these cities, but implementation often leads to less efficiency because of deadhead costs. Notice how the Tri-Delta Transit bus depot is at the northernmost end of the city, whereas the southernmost end of the city is where the suburban neighborhoods with the long block distances and cul-de-sacs exist. Now, by the time these buses reach their routes in the southern part of the city, a lot of gasoline, wages, and maintenance costs has been spent, leading to deadhead expenditures. This popular graphic shows how buses use space more efficiently, but how does this fit in with Jack's narrative of empty buses? For this efficiency to be realized, buses need to be used. Empty and barely utilized buses take up more space on the road per passenger, thus increasing congestion, and impose fixed costs, such as the terms of maintenance, gasoline, and wages, regardless of ridership levels. The inefficient intra-city public transportation in Antioch, California, as described by Jack, means that most commuters are forced to rely on automobiles, even if they are excited about using public transportation. Though a majority of commuters in Antioch, California rely on automobiles and do not use public transit, a majority of these commuters still take 40 or more minutes to get to work. For the majority of the past 50 years, Antioch has been home to affluent white suburban households. However, as trends of displacement continue to take hold in the Bay Area, Antioch's population not only continues to grow dramatically, but continues to diversify both in terms of income and race, as more lower income and bio-POC families call Antioch home. For many of these recently displaced families of color, the lack of an automobile means the lack of a means to access employment opportunities, social events, shopping, healthcare, education, and social safety nets. These communities are not only more likely to own less reliable automobiles, but own less automobiles in general. Trends show that when there are not enough automobiles to accommodate everyone in the household, priority is given to male breadwinners, often leaving women and children at a disadvantage, especially if they have multi-destination trips. As more displaced families move to Antioch, transportation is a major obstacle for the formation of resilient communities.
The solution is a responsive and efficient transportation system, one that is resilient to events like the pandemic that lower demand, but also scalable enough to grow as the city does. Using Tri-Delta Transit's already existing shuttles and city-owned parking lots, combined with an easy-to-use app that lets users schedule a ride to the BART station, riders can request a pickup and the system would dynamically create a route using network analysis tools and bring a full transport of people to the station. After that route is created, a nearby shuttle waiting in a parking lot would be sent to collect everyone. With these shuttles, many people can be picked up at once and be brought to the train station. Worried about costs? With as few as 4 shuttles, almost everyone in Antioch is within 5 minutes of a ride. Sound infeasible? I mean, Tri-Delta Transit already has shuttles in place for their Try My Ride program. Tri-Delta Transit's program offers $2 for a trip to BART and a small service area for the wealthier area of the city. Why have these existing shuttles remain relatively unused when they can be helping the entire community? And that is really a key to remember. Transportation systems are created to serve the community and provide resilience. If someone's car is breaking down in Antioch and they can't afford to pay for repairs, if someone can't afford insurance or registration, they have the choice between navigating the suburban public transportation system, having their lives turned inside out, or paying tremendously for rideshare, or even continuing to drive that vehicle. A transportation system is essential to the resilience of its community. But if civic duty isn't enough, then take a look at other examples of responsive transportation. Ontario has used a similar idea during the pandemic to create a safer transportation system while decreasing costs. When there's lower demands, there are fewer shuttles or buses. However, the quality of service for the individual would remain the same. So join us today. Help us change the system, make it more resilient for the city and for all. Thank you.